Of course, we are going to talk about application display templates, but first of all, I wanted to ask how many of you are already using application display templates in your projects? Could you please raise your hands? Okay, cool. So I would like that during the Q&A time we have after the talk, you could share also your experience. Today I'm going to share my experience in so the challenge we had to face when we wanted to create a sample site for our demos in Liferay. Okay, so basically we have a site built, of course, with Liferay, and we have a fancy theme that one of our designers created, but still we have some applications, the asset publisher and all, that didn't look exactly the way we wanted them to look. So we had to face this challenge, how to transform those Liferay standard views into something cooler and to provide new features in these applications. And we also have some strict requirements from the designer and from the product manager. So we have to customize, of course, the portlet design and add new features, as I mentioned. But we also wanted to apply those changes to specific portlet instances. That means that in some pages, we will have 3 asset publisher portlets, and we want each of them to be displayed with a different, in a different way. Okay? And we also want to enhance maintainability, meaning that if our site admin wants to change from one view to other, he just has to select a different view from a list. No deployment, no development required. So, well, of course, we found a solution for all these requirements, and the solution were application display templates. Okay, application display templates provide a way to extend Liferay portlet displayed modes. They can be applied to different portlet instances, and you don't need any external tool because they can be developed in the online editor provided in the portal. And of course, they don't require any deployment. And finally, it's very easy to export and import the application display template. So this is what the admin, this is the user experience of an ADT, of a site admin when he uses application display templates. Basically, he just has to access the portlet configuration, and in the display settings view, he will find an extended list with more custom display modes. Okay, so you see the first ones are the asset publisher default view modes, but we have extended them by adding new application display templates. So once the admin changes chooses one from that list, the view of the display of the asset publisher changes. Okay. And from a developer perspective, his user experience is like this. So he has an online editor which provides not only the editor but also a palette with some hints, and where you can know which variables are available. And it also provides some autocomplete features. So you don't have to know all the Liferay API by heart, but you can find the method that you need. So I'm going to show you with some examples how we managed to go from that not so beautiful music site I showed you earlier to a much more attractive site with application display templates. So one of the first things we had to do was to enhance our list. Okay, so you notice that we have used the asset publisher to display the list of songs and artists we have in our site. So we wanted to show some extra information. For example, something so simple as the number of the item. Okay, it's something that the asset publisher doesn't provide by default. So if you want to change that, you will have to deploy to create and deploy a hook. But with application display templates, you only need to create a very simple template, and with just one line you get that done. Okay, we also added the ratings, okay, so that our visitors can rate the songs, and they make this list dynamic because it displays the 10 top songs in our site. We also added a cool effect so that for users that access from a mobile device, the edit button is hidden, and they need to do this swipe event to view the edit button. Okay, so application display templates provide not only a new way to design our portlets, but also you can also add new features to them. And we use application display template also to extend or to provide new lists for the albums. So in this case, you see not only the number, but also the preview image, the title, and a brief description, and a link to the view. But not apart from enhancing the list, we also wanted to provide some beautiful samples with application display templates and display our content in a completely different way. So we decided to add some charts, so so that the admins or the users can change from the typical list view to a chart view containing exactly the same information. So this has also been achieved with a very brief application display template. And going even farther, we have completely changed the way the asset publisher looks. This is the asset publisher portlet, but probably you don't recognize it. It's because we have applied an asset publisher that renders the content in a completely different way. In this case, we display every content as a point in our map, and with the title, the summary, and when available, a preview image. Okay. And well, for those of you who visited the workshop before this talk, we've also provided even more examples in this sample site. There is, for example, we display the avatar of the user for every blog entry. We have created a responsive media gallery that automatically adjusts the size when the window is resized. And also we have displayed the available tags as a chart pie in the tags navigation. So all that stuff we did for our website, and but only by using application display templates. You may be thinking, okay, that's fine when your site is is built only with portlet standard, with Liferay standard portlet, like the asset publisher or the blog's portlet. But what happens with sites which are built with custom plugins, like probably the ones you have created? So. We've also had to face the same issue in our sample site. Okay, we have this plugin, which is the Jukebox Portlet. It's a custom application that we created to display, to add and display songs, artists, and albums. Okay, and by default, it only provides these two views. Okay, this is the view for artists, and this is the view for albums. So how can we customize these views? This is a plugin, and this is not an OCI plugin, so there is no way we can modify these views. So our solution, okay, was, well, one of the good things of Liferay is that Liferay is a developer-friendly platform. So this is a picture of one of the walls in the Madrid office that help us to remember that the software we create must be developer-friendly. So every feature we support for the portal should also be available for you developers, so you can use it in your plugins. So we did the same with application display templates, so you can extend your plugins to support application display templates. And we did that with this Jukebox Portlet. So the result, well, these are the steps to do that. They were explained in the workshop, and this Jukebox Portlet source code is available in a public repository, so you can have a look and learn how we did it. Basically, it's a 4-step process. Okay, intentionally the capital letters are ADT, so it's easier to remember. With only these 4 steps, you can provide full support for application display templates in your application. So as I was explaining, this is the result. So we were able, once we apply support for ADT to the Jukebox Portlet, to completely change the way the albums and the artists were displayed. Okay, and what is even better, if in the future we want to redesign our site, we only have to create new ADTs, but we don't have to modify the Jukebox Portlet at all. Okay, so far we've been talking about creating ADTs for either library standard portlet or your custom applications. Once you have created those ADTs, how can you distribute them? Okay. Well, so from the simplest to the most complex way, there are several mechanisms. So the simplest one would be to simply copy and paste the FTL. Okay. In the future, you will be able to simply upload your free marker or velocity code to the library marketplace, fill a formula, and then your ADT will be ready for distribution. Okay. In the meantime, you can use LAR files. This is the standard export and import mechanism for library to export and import your ADTs from one system to other. Okay. And a third approach could be to add those ADTs programmatically. That's what we explained in the workshop before, and we also provide an example of a hook that when it gets deployed in the server, it automatically adds a set of application display templates that we use as samples or as exercises for this workshop. And the final approach could be to package all the content and the ADTs in a theme. Okay, we also provided an example of that. And what's the advantage of this approach? So imagine you create very cool ADTs, but the user that's going to play with them doesn't have any content to see those ADTs with all their power. So one option could be to add your ADTs plus some content in a theme, and once this theme is deployed, then you get a complete site with some content and your application display templates. This way, your users will enjoy your ADTs more because they can see them with some content. Okay, so and what's next? This is ADT for 6.2, which is already available, and some of you are already using it. But what comes next? So our roadmap for application display templates is this one. So we want to first extend support to other relevant portlets. So far, we cover around 10 portlets, but we want to cover more. And we have already started. We have applied support to the language portlet and to the breadcrumb portlet, and also to audience targeting. So this new library application supports ADT. So you can select, you can reuse the asset publisher ADTs to display your campaigns or your target content. Okay. So all thing we want to do is to extend to add more extension points or more customization points to our portlet. So currently you can only customize the view of a portlet, but we also want to extend other views like the configuration view. Okay. And we also want to improve the user experience, and particularly the developer experience. So we want to enhance the template editor by providing more hints and better tools. We want to provide a preview functionality so that it's easier to know what happens when you perform a change on your template. And we are also working on template versioning, so you can go back to your previous version in case you did something wrong or you want to recover some changes. This is how the language portlet and the breadcrumb portlets look before and after applying new application display templates in Liferay 7.0. So, well, I'm coming to the end. Time to recap. We have talked about how we used ADTs to face a real challenge. This is building a demo site for Liferay. And with ADT, we were able to customize how Liferay portlets look like. You saw the list of contents. And we were also able to add new features like the swipe effect and all. We were also able to extend the views of custom applications like the jukebox portlet. We had to previously add support for ADT to that application. And finally, we have learned how to distribute our application display templates. So if you are interested in application display templates, specifically, or in Liferay in general, I recommend you to go to our new website, to the Liferay Developer Network, where you will find everything about Liferay and also about application display templates, and with tutorials about how to support ADT in your own plugins, for example. And the code samples we use for the workshop are available in the Liferay Labs public repository. So I invite you all to go there and download and get the source code and see how it's done as a reference for your own projects. Oh, and also you can contribute with your own ADT samples to this repository. And for more contribution, you can distribute your ADTs to the marketplace. I'll show you several ways of doing this. And you can also contribute to Liferay to help us improve our product in our public repository. And finally, we need your feedback. We need to know how you are using ADTs, what ideas you have to make it better, and you can provide them through our community site in Liferay DEVCON. There is a list of the most popular feature requests. So I invite you all to add any feature requests you want to that page and rate it, so it gets in the next Liferay version. Okay. So, well, now it's time for questions. I think we have some time, okay? So, do you have any questions? If you don't have, I will ask you. Oh, over there.
Hi. The versioning of ADTs, is this already available in the Milestone 2, or?
Well, I know we're working on that, and it's not only versioning of ADTs, but versioning of DDM templates in general. So application display template share the same template framework as other Liferay templates, like the web content templates. So we are working on that framework to support template versioning. I'm not sure at this, what the status at this moment is, but it's on our roadmap, so it will be available soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions?
So then, oh.
I sat next to you, so you could ask.
It's related to marketplace. How can I upload just a FTL file, or I need to build a jar or a word and then deploy it? And then submit to marketplace.
So at this moment there is, I haven't checked today, but at this moment there's no explicit option for application display template in the same way we have for site templates and all. So you would have to add a hook, for example, to distribute your templates. But we are working, or the marketplace team is working to provide a specific category for application display templates, and we want to simplify the way you upload your ADT. So the simplest way will be simply to upload a file and fill a formula with all the required fields like the description, the name, and you will be done. Okay, so I hope that in a few weeks we'll have that ready in the marketplace.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. No more. Yep.
Do you have any plans on adding documentation features to custom ADT portlets so that the developer can document the objects so the end user that's creating the template?
Sure, that's already possible. Actually, in the samples I've shared with you, in the Jukebox portlet, which is a custom plugin, if you take a look at the portlet display handlers, there's a method where you can use to extend the variable palette you have in the editor with your own information. So there you can add your own variables with that description, so that the developers of your templates can know which variables they have, and even provide some code snippets.
Any more questions?
we have time? I have a question for you. So some of you raised your hands when I asked who is using ADT. Does anyone want to share their experience with ADT, or to let us know where they are using ADTs? Some volunteer? Okay.
We're basically using it to pass off as much work as possible to interaction designers. So we make custom portlets that consume web services, et cetera, and then add some filtering and whatever is needed, and then just pass it on to an interaction designer who knows FreeMarker, who can then do the front end. So we don't have to care about that other than sort of
and how is your
accepting their FreeMarker.
How has been your experience so far?
Aside from the fact that in Liferay 6.2 you're forced to use JSP for the default view, I've liked it a lot. I know that's fixed for 7.0, but I would really like to see that backported to 6.2. Just a hint, hint.
Okay, thanks for sharing. So, we have more experience there.
Well, we use it in a completely different way. We throw asset publish on the page, and then we don't set it to manual, and we don't care for all the stuff it does, and put in the ADT, and we use it as an application. It has buttons, it uses a law UI, it uses the JSON web services. For example, we have built a view on a document library, so that the users get a list of files in the folders and everything, and they can click buttons to switch between different views and stuff like that. So we really use it as applications, and not as intended. We don't integrate them with portlets.
That's cool. And do you have any suggestions or any missing?
Well, one of the problems is that we basically have to allow to call all Liferay services. So we really disable all security.
Yeah, that's one. Well, I haven't mentioned that in the roadmap, but that's also one of the things we want to improve. So to get fine-grained security configuration. So as you mentioned, currently it's all or nothing. You can expose the service locator or hide it, but we want to let system admin to log or unlock specific services. So you don't have that problem.
Basically, for us, would be good if let's say administrators or a specific role could do whatever they want, as it is if you enable everything, and the rest can't do it. Because then we'll lock it down to a specific user group that can do all the stuff, and I mean, they are powerful enough, they can delete the users anyway or whatever they want to do. So why restrict their ability to do it with code?
Yeah, so we will definitely improve that. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you. We have 1 minute left. Is that time enough to share yet another story about ADT, or? If not, then I have to ask you to give...
I have a small challenge for you. If you share in our Twitter the URL of any ADT project you are working currently, I have a T-shirt, not the one you get this year, but I have one from the previous year, which is a limited edition of the first Liferay DEVCON. So if the first who publish a tweet with a link to your own custom ADT gets that T-shirt. Okay.